Ever since the Mustang burst onto the scene at the World's Fair in 1964, it's been turning heads and getting attention.
That was Zach Spencer on an earlier episode of Motoring TV talking about the iconic Mustang. Well, we have a new generation. There it is, our first in-person look at the 2021 Mustang. Now, normally a new Mustang would be a slam dunk as the year's biggest automotive headline, right? Yes, but like it or not, the headline is more one of shock, horror, and downright conflict. Why? Well, you know the answer. This is called the Mustang Mach-E, as in electric. But there's some who would like to think that the E stands for evolution, and like it or not, electric is the future, and the Mustang must evolve. Like I said, a lot of fussing. Now, we've only got the vehicle for a few hours, so I thought, let's make the most of our time. So we brought along you-know-who, Mr. Electric, and Jim has driven the new Mustang, so it'll be interesting to hear his thoughts on the car as well as some insight into the controversy. But first, let's learn more from the people who actually built the Mustang Mach-E.
We wanted to make sure we have a vehicle that meets the demands of our customers. If you look at the market trends right now, everyone's kind of trending towards SUVs. Also, all electric is the future of the automobile. So we wanted to bring out a vehicle that met all those demands of our customers. We want to make a vehicle that had some heritage, or at least was drawing on the heritage of one of our icons. And as you know, like the Mustang is one of our most iconic vehicles. We picked the Mustang to be the vehicle because an SUV could lend those same design cues that the Mustang has, with the long nose, the beautiful sculpted haunches. I think we hit the ball out of the park with this one.
The unexpected, the new Ford Mustang at your Ford dealers.
The original Mustang was a Falcon with a two-door body. It wasn't a great car by any stretch of the imagination, but it became an icon. That name ranks with maybe Jeep and maybe Land Rover amongst the greatest product names in history. I cannot call this car by that name. I simply cannot do it.
There's instant torque with electric vehicles, and you can feel it in this vehicle that you're going to see today. It's an all-wheel drive. It has two motors. They're not connected with an axle in between them, so they're both parallel. They have half shafts that drive each wheel. You can have the torque go front to back fully, 100%, side to side, so it's vectoring along the corners.
I drove the car, and like most electric cars, it's way too heavy. It's not particularly quick, even by electric car standards, and the range isn't particularly good either. There was a lot of controversy within the company. Even Bill Ford himself was concerned about using that name on this car. Bill, go with your first instinct.
There was a lot of back and forth within our leadership team. Everyone was, really worried about, hey, can we lean on Mustang, and what are the negative effects of it being a Mustang? The main concern was, will it be a Mustang? You can call it something whatever you want to call it, but if it doesn't perform or behave and look like the vehicle or the icon that you're trying to portray, it doesn't really hit the mark.
It's not bad looking, I gotta say that. That's about it.
In the extended range rear-wheel drive platform, you can get up to 483 kilometers of range. And in this one here, it's the all-wheel drive. It gets about 435 kilometers of range. This vehicle can go to 0 to 60 in about 4.8 seconds, so it's under 5 seconds in the all-wheel drive with the extended range battery. So it's pretty quick. I think it's probably as quick as a 5-liter V8 Mustang that we have, or even quicker.
It's an overweight, too tall, 4-door SUV. How can they put that name on that car? It's just wrong at so many levels.
The screens you'll see in the vehicle is a big 15.5-inch screen in the middle that has all your key touch points. It's also a very flat architecture, so everything's at your fingertips if you're looking for your radio or your Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. Also has a lot of safety features, so this vehicle has adaptive cruise control with our Ford Copilot 360. It also has available Ford Copilot Active, which is going to allow hands-free driving, which is going to be amazing as well.
The question now is, will they sell any? Right now, electric vehicles have something like 3% of the market. And Ford's given up sedans, which have about 25% of the market. So it's hard to say. Mustang fans are not going to buy this car. I wouldn't be surprised if there's demonstrations at Ford dealerships over this one. Well, I don't hate electric cars. Electric cars are fine. An electric motor is a great way to power a car. As always, it's the battery. And the battery life just isn't there. It wasn't good enough for the 1914 Baker Electric. It's not enough now for most people's driving. You want to drive to Montreal, you got to stop for an hour and a half or 2 hours to refill your car. That's not like filling a gas tank. That takes you 10 minutes. It's just not going to work for most people's regular driving. For in-city use, it'll be fine.
Bottom line on the new Mustang Mach-E, well, the pandemic has really hindered car companies' ability to give the media a vehicle for more than just a few hours, so it's hard to shake it down. I will say one thing, it's a Mustang to me in name only, but being a sport utility, Ford had to go where the money is, and maybe that name will bring along a few new customers. But we'll have more on the Mustang on a future program, whether you like it or not.
So here's the question, where were you 32 years ago? I know some of you weren't even a glint in your father's eye. As for me, well, I was in diapers, but found time to get Motoring TV off the ground. And today I like to think we've got one of the best automotive video libraries in the world. If you agree, please give us the thumbs up and also subscribe. We'd really appreciate it.